from 50 years ago. Yemei Slichos Tafshin Lamedalad, that's 50 years ago, Slichos time. And it speaks about our topic of Simcha and Bitochon, specifically both of them together, how one brings to the other in connection with our mission and what we are doing on Rosh Hashanah. Just as a side note, there is not enough, if you will, study or analysis generally. I mean, people personally learn the letters of the Rebbe, but there are Michtavim Klolim, which are general letters that the Rebbe gave out on certain occasions, like before Rosh Hashanah, before Sukkot, before it's different Yom Tovim throughout the year on different occasions. I'm not talking about individual letters, and those have very rich content, similar to what you would find in a Sikha, in some ways similar to what you would find in a Maimer. Though again, the language is perhaps more tailored to be able to be read by all. And these were published in Yiddish publications in the Allgemeine Journal and places like that to make it available for all. This was originally written, this letter in Yiddish. The Rebbe had some of them translated in English. This is a translation of the Yiddish letter into the Hebrew. We're not going to read the titles. We're going to go directly to the Rebbe's words, which begins in the Baruch Hashem, Yemei Slichos Tafshin Lamedalad, Brooklyn, New York. And the Rebbe's footnotes over here are like in no other thing, not even Mamorim and Sichos, but if you're curious, you could look at the bottom. The footnote, he's already explaining Yemei HaSlichos, that how this has a special effect after the avodah of all the days of Elul, because of a famous story of the Baal Shem Tov, etc., etc. So this is how the Rebbe really broke down the letters, and we're gonna maybe devote some time to one of the footnotes, maybe some other ones as well. Al B'nei B'nai Yisrael, to both Jewish men and women, Asher B'chol Makom and Makom, that's in every single place, Hashem Aleim Yichyu, Hashem should be upon them, they should live. Shalom Uvracha, peace and blessings. One of the primary ideas of Rosh Hashanah is that is the day that Adam and Rishon was created. On the 25th of El was the first day of creation. The sixth day of creation, when Adam and Rishon was created, that's Rosh Hashanah. Because Adam was created, man was created on Rosh Hashanah, Lefichach, that's the reason that Meshamish Rosh Hashanah Gam Ki Yom Adin Shel Adam. That's why it's the day of judgment for a person, because we need to now evaluate. You were placed into this world for a certain purpose. Are you fulfilling, this is the annual review, like, a law firm might have, or any high-end company will have like an annual review. What have you been doing for the company? The same thing. Rosh Hashanah is the day that Adam Rishon was created. It's an annual review. And it's not only an annual review and a judgment of the person, v'chein shel olam kuloi, so too it's a review and it's a judgment for the entire world. Why? If it's the day that Adam Rishon was created, I understand why it's an annual review of man. But why is it an annual review of the world? Because Shenivra Bishvil HaAdam, the entire world was created for the sake of man, and it was created in such a way Sha'Adam Yichbay Shoisei V'Yanagai, so that the person should conquer it and should run the world. So therefore, it's necessary, as part of it, the judgment is also not just of man, but how much the world has been in concert with its purpose to serve man, and how much man has utilized the world for the purpose for which it was created. Next page. By the way, the stuff on the side is like, you have in newspapers, you have like short snippets of ideas that they're putting on the side. We're not learning the bold part on the right. We just go to the left. This is also the reason for the Rosh Hashanah Yom Hachtorah. The very same reason, because it's the day that man was created. That's also not just the reason why it's the day when man is judged, but it's also the reason that Rosh Hashanah is the day of the coronation. On the day of Rosh Hashanah, Yidden coronate Hashem both as the king over Yidden and also as a king over the world. And we ask of the Eibishter in all the davening of Rosh Hashanah, every single Shemoneh Esrei of Rosh Hashanah, this is what we are requesting in the Rosh Hashanah davening, in every Shemoneh Esrei. Whether it's Shachris, Mincha, Ma'ariv, Musaf, all the Shemoneh Esreis, we conclude the bracha, Meloich ala olam kuloi. Reign over the entire world. That's what we are asking from Hashem. Toich Bitochon molei, out of full confidence and trust, that Hashem will accept our request and He will accept the coronation. The Rebbe in the footnote adds, not only is it in every davening of Shemoneh Esrei, but also it's said also in Kiddush we say it, and also even the brachas on the Haftarah we also say it. That's how much this theme permeates everything. The Rebbe also says in another footnote that when we make a bracha, we have to be sure that Hashem will fulfill it. The Alter Rebbe says in Tanya. Why? Because or else it's a bracha levatala. One may not mention Hashem's name in vain. If Hashem will not reign upon the world, so then we will be saying something that's not a statement of fact and of truth, and therefore we must say that Hashem will definitely reign upon the world as we request. Second paragraph on this page. Muvimei of itself understood that this coronation that we, man, are making for Hashem has to be completely sincere, but tzricha malaya, it has to be complete. Kalaymar, what does it mean, a complete state of hachtar, of coronation? Yachad im regish shel yiras haroimus mipnei melech ha'olam, along with a feeling of an awe for the great exaltedness of the King of the world, and together with that, we have a deep joy for the fact that Hashem accepted our coronation. Along with that, with a strong resolution, al nemonus, on being faithful to Him, umishmas lemitzvoisav, and being faithful and following His mitzvahs, lakaiman yoim yoim, to fulfill it daily, b'chol echad v'mei hashana elah nichnasim, in every single day of the year that we will be going into, following Rosh Hashanah, ata v'gam lachem became now, and also following that. And the Rebbe in a footnote also points out, Rosh Hashanah, as we know, is called the head of the year, just like the head includes in it the entire vitality of the rest of the body, so too Rosh Hashanah includes in it all the days of the year. So when we make a resolution to act the way we're supposed to act, to do mitzvahs, this influences the rest of the year, that every single day of the year is influenced by that resolution that we made on Rosh Hashanah. Ha'achlota ha'klolis v'ha'ikris hi, the general and primary resolution that we're supposed to make on Rosh Hashanah is lihisnaheg bechlal ubechol prat mechaya yom yom, to act in general and in every detail from our day-to-day life, behesam l'tachlis b'riyos shel ha'olam, corresponding to the goal and purpose of the b'riyos shel ha'adam, of the creation of man. Shehi kibitich hachamenu zal b'mishpat kotzer, it's like our Chachamim expressed in a short axiom, ani nivreisil shamishes koini, I was created to serve my Maker. Lishamish oisoi besimcha, and also to serve him with joy. Kitzivui, as we've been commanded, Ibdos Hashem besimcha, serve him with joy. So this is something that is core to this decision and this achlota, this resolution that we make on Rosh Hashanah. So he continues, Hatoichen, ha'ikir, va'tachlis shel shimush zehu, the content, the core, and the goal of this service is, what are we trying to accomplish by serving our Maker, that we are resolving our Rosh Hashanah to do so, to fulfill our purpose, that it is to serve our Maker, is the following. La'asis lo yizbarach dira b'tachtonim, to make for him, blessed be he, a home down here below. Kaloimar, this means to say, lisnaig b'tzura kazu, to act in such a fashion, in such a manner, shekol prat ba'olam, that every detail in the world shemisaviv, that is around the person. V'alachas kama v'kama kol prat b'chaye adam, and how much more so every single detail in the life of a person, nasa dira lalakus, becomes a home for godliness. And like in other places, the idea of a home is explained that means a place where a person is comfortable. What do they say? The expression that a person's home is like their castle. It doesn't make a difference if they're a king or not. Home is where they're supposed to feel comfortable. Everywhere else, you're a visitor, you're under the control of someone else. There is, if you're at work, there's a boss, or there's other people you have to consider. If you're a guest, you're beholden to the host. If the host doesn't serve you food until 5 o'clock in the afternoon, after Shabbos afternoon, so then you go hungry until 5 o'clock, etc., etc. So you need to have this transition and leave your place of work or your host's house and finally go home. By sich in the heim is anders. At home, things are different. Famous word of the Mezritcher Magid, that when someone came and saw him living very, very, in a very poor way, and he said that in the heim is anders, he looked at the physical world. The Mezritcher Magid's attitude towards the physical world was that he's on the road. On the road, you make do with whatever it is. You don't have to have all the comforts of home. But when you're home, things are different. So Mezritcher Magid looked at this world concerning his life, that he's not at home. This is not my home. My home is in Ruchnius and Gan Eden and so on. But anyway, Hashem wants to be at home. He doesn't want to feel like a guest. He doesn't want to feel like he's imposing upon us. He wants to feel that this is a place that he lives in. And how is that accomplished? How do we make Hashem feel at home? It's davar hamevutzai dechaye yom yom shel Torah mitzvahs. It's something that's brought to fruition through the day-to-day life of Torah and mitzvahs. Kol ha'omer, all of the above, to make this world into a home, through fulfilling Torah mitzvahs, through coronating the king, through accepting and resolving to do the mitzvahs, and out of Simcha. This is demanded from every single Jew, Mekol Ben Yisrael, ish, a man or woman, Tzoyer Ezakin, young or old, B'li Hevdel Ben Kol Maimed Matzav Sheba Yishari, regardless of whatever state and situation the person finds himself in. K'fi sham davar gam mudgish v'paska koshem Rosh Hashanah, that like the matter is also emphasized with the pasuk that's connected with the Rosh Hashanah. Atem nitzavim bayom kulchem lefnei Hashem Elokeichem. You are standing, all of you, today before Hashem your God. And the Chazal say that Hayoim, and the Baal Shem Tov speaks about this, and Zohar speaks about this, I believe, that the Hayoim, or maybe it's also the Torah, Hayoim is referring to Rosh Hashanah, Yom Medina Rabbah, the day of the great day of judgment. So all of you are standing for Hashem, Rosheichem, from your heads, till he says, Ad Shoyim Memecha, till you're water carriers, meaning all the different levels that he talks about, tapchem, neshechem, your children, your wives, your heads, your elders, etc., etc. All of them are included. Meaning that this is something, the idea of what Rosh Hashanah represents, that we are all standing before Hashem, lined up in front of the king to accept his kingship and follow his orders, is applicable to everybody. Mikol Yehudi lo yotzim min haklal, from every Jew, without exception. Nidrash, it's demanded, v'tzafui, and it's awaited, she'agia ledargas atem nitzavim lefnei Hashem lekeichem, that he should reach a level that you are standing before Hashem your God. What does the expression nitzavim mean? It doesn't say atem oimdim, or you just find yourself there. Nitzavim means an expression of his yatzvus esana, a strong and a fast standing. There's a pasuk that says nitzav melech, like a king stands fast with a full strength. Not regardless of how the past year went by. Today, Rosh Hashanah, the new year, I'm standing fully committed and fully resolved, regardless of who I am, to commit to Hashem in Torah mitzvahs. So now we're going to get to the topic of Simcha and Bitochon. So the Rebbe says, after the 3 stars, Kan Mesoreres HaShayla. Here a question arises. Eich efshar lidresh mikol Yehudi, how is it possible to demand from every Jew Lagia ledarga kazu, to reach such a level, va'oiden, even more so, be'emes ubesimcha. It's not just that we're paying lip service. Everything that a Yid does, Chassidus demands and asks of him, to do it truthfully, it should be real, and it should be done out of joy. Not just, I have to do it, I must do it, I'll force myself to do it. Ubemyuchad, this becomes especially difficult to understand. When we take into consideration that on the one hand we're talking about making a home in a low spiritual place, olam chumri v'gashmi, a coarse material world, olam boy b'nei Yisrael hem v'gashmi sam hamat mikol amim, a world in which the Jewish people are the least of all the nations. And we're saying us few million Jews that are scattered throughout the world need to ensure that the entire world with billions and billions of people is going to become a home to Hashem. How can this little amount of people affect the entire world? Putting the world aside, let's look at my own life. Umitzad sheni, on the other hand, hadavar nidrish min Yehudi, the matter is demanded from a Yid, kifi shu shari b'matzav shaboy tzrachim chumrim, that he's in a state and situation that material needs should be ladeyem efshal, that without those physical material needs he cannot exist. Like eating, drinking, sleeping, being involved in making a living, etc. They occupy a great portion of his time and his energy. The result of it is only a little bit time remains for matters of spirituality and holiness. So, first of all, looking in the macro, in the big picture, in the world, we are very few in regards to the entire world. And look at my own life. How much time, if I were to distill all the time together that I'm involved in Torah mitzvahs, and I would contrast that with the rest of the hours of my life that I'm involved in eating, drinking, sleeping, making a living, and other material needs that I need to survive. It's like the comparison of the small amount of Yidden in comparison to the rest of the world. So how can it be asked of me, how is it demanded of me, how is it expected of me that I will be able to make this world into a home. So the Rebbe goes on to say, "Ha'hezber lakach." The explanation for this is Hamuvan l'chol ha'hezber hamuvan l'chol echad v'achas. It's an explanation that's even understood for every man and woman. Ka'amur, like we said before, it has to be something that's addressed to every man and woman, like we find them in Parashat Nitzavim. The explanation for this is found Nimtza be'inyan Bitochon b'Hakadosh Baruch Hu, is found in the matter of trust and faith in Hashem. Shuhu yisoid b'Torah, Torah's chaim ha'ira b'chaim. The trust and faith in Hashem is a basic, foundational matter in Torah, the Torah of life, which is a lesson in life. It's a directive in life that we need to have Bitochon. Now, here again we see the Rebbe's emphasis that Bitochon is not just concerning my physical needs. Bitochon does not just mean that I trust that Hashem will help me when I have a problem, or I trust that Hashem will help me pay the rent or the mortgage this month. But trust also means, in the big picture, that Hashem entrusted me with a mission, and that mission is to make this world and my life as a home for Hashem. So I need to have trust in Hashem that we have the ability and the capability to do so. And this is emphasized in LeDavid Hashem Oidi. Kfi she'adavar mudgish b'mizmar nemer pamayim b'yom b'meshchol chodesh Elul, like the matter is emphasized in the Kapitel Tillim that said twice a day throughout the entire month of Elul. Chodesh ha'achon l'shana chadasha, a month of preparation for the new year. And it's not just recited in the month of preparation, but it's also begam b'tchilas hashana. It's also recited at the beginning of the year. B'chelke hagadol shel chodesh Tishrei, a great portion of the month of Tishrei. In other words, more than half of the month of Tishrei, up to Shana Rebbe, which is like 19, 20 days in, is we say Anila David Hashem Oidi v'yishim ira gomer. That David sings and says, Hashem is my light, Hashem is my salvation, He's my helper. Salvation is a very complicated thing. He's my helper, He helps me. From who then can I fear, etc. Habitochen b'Hashem oisei mevate David HaMelech b'shmoi shel kol Yisrael. This trust and confidence in Hashem that David HaMelech expresses on behalf of every Jewish person. In other words, when David HaMelech says to Hillel, I believe I mentioned this before, the Rebbe mentions it different times, David HaMelech in Tehillim expresses his ideas not as a personal expression, but on behalf of Klal Yisrael. That's why Klal Yisrael's adopted the reciting of Tehillim, and so much of Tehillim becomes part of davening, because when David HaMelech authored the Tehillim and compiled the Tehillim, he made it as something he's singing it on behalf of Klal Yisrael. So he expressed Haistamchus hamuchletes al ezus HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the complete reliance on Hashem's help. And this reliance is makif heinas en yor magashim beruchnim. These encompass both the material things that a person has in their life, the heinas aruchnim, and also the spiritual matters of his life. Ad kedei hasagas hadarga halyoina beyoser b'avodas Hashem. As we see that David is not just saying Hashem is my light and my help in physical matters. He's saying that Hashem is my help and my light also in the most spiritual matters. Shivti b'veis Hashem, Yismeneini b'sukkah, all these spiritual things. Like it's obvious, and we could see from the continuation of the different psukim in the above mentioned Kapitel Tilm that we say, Ad lePasuk Achron, until we reach the final pasuk, Kavel Hashem, hope to Hashem, Chazak v'yamis lebecha, strengthen and give your heart encouragement, v'kavil Hashem, and hope to Hashem that Hashem will help us in all matters, even the spiritual matters that the kapitel over there speaks about, that I want to be beis Hashem, I want to be devoted to Hashem, and all these things. So Hashem, we can rely on Him, and we have full faith that Hashem will help us out, even in our spiritual mission, including this idea of making a home for Hashem. So after the 3 stars, he goes on and says, in Bitochon, who the idea of the trust and faith in Hashem, the confidence in Hashem, Hargosha shel vadois v'ishtachnos sha'akadosh baruch hu yisayeya lizgaber al kol she'achayim. The feeling that we are sure and convinced that Hashem will assist us and help us to overcome all the difficulties of life, chumriim v'ruchniim, both material difficulties and spiritual difficulties, spiritual challenges, to be able to fulfill the mission. Mishum, why does he do so? How does he do so? Shehu oidi v'yishi, because he is my light and he is my help. Ubevadai, and surely you call echad v'chol achas, every man and every woman will be able to be mesugalim levatzeh shlichusam b'olam ha'azeh, will have the capability to fulfill their mission in this world. Simcha, and they're able to do so out of joy, and not just any joy, but Simcha gedoyle v'yoser, out of a great joy. When a person thinks into the fact that Hashem Himself chosen to be His representative in this world, to make a home down here below, with the promise that Hashem will give light and help, ve'oz and might, al menas Slichos, to be able to fulfill this mission. So that brings him to a great joy. It's like a person that a company sends out and says, I have a mission for you. I want you to start up a new branch of our company in India. He says, India, how am I going to do this? So they say, we have confidence in you. We know you can be able to do it. All the resources of the company are at your disposal. Anytime you need anything, just call us up, shoot an email, a text message. Boom, we're there to help you out in anything. The Eibishter sent us down into this world to represent Him, to make a home office, or bring the home of Hashem down here below. And we say, it's daunting. No, Hashem tells us that He chose us. He said, I am able to do so, and that's why He sent me down here. And therefore, He is happy. The Eibishter didn't choose others, He chose me to do it. And He has full confidence, and He gives me all the resources necessary. Now the Rebbe adds, in addition to the joy, because Hashem chose me to do so, and He gives me everything that I need to be able to accomplish this. So he says in the last 3 lines on this page, Simcha shebekach gadla oid yoser. This joy grows even and increases even more so. Kisha adam is bainan, when the person contemplates shasiyua shakadosh baruch hu noisen loy, that the assistance that Hashem gives him, hu ba'oifen shalani ledoidi v'doidi li. Hashem is not giving it to us chas v'shalom in a way of begrudging us, or in a mean way, or an indifferent, ambivalent way, but He gives it to us in the way of I am to my beloved, and my beloved is to me. Hainu ba'ava lekis bilti regila. Hashem gives it to us in an extraordinary, godly love. He gives us this mission, and He gives us this assistance, and He enables us and chooses us to do this mission in this world. Davar, this is a matter shehaschalosei beikir betkufa shemresh chodesh el ad acher yom kippurim ani ledoidi v'doidi li. This great love of Hashem is primarily begins from the time of then the period from Rosh Chodesh El until after Yom Kippur, Kimuz by the Chomeinu Zalek, the Chacham explain that this period of 40 days is the period of Anila Doidi V'Doidi Li. Therefore, when we see how great Hashem's love is to us and how His kindness is to us, and that engenders by us a great joy, so therefore he says, Lefichach tzarech hadavar betkufa zu v'gam b'chol hashanim. This awareness has to bring about, both in this period, especially in these 40 days of Elul on the beginning of Tishrei, and also it has to influence the entire world. To awaken by the person an unlimited love to Hashem. Like it's emphasized in the pasuk, who is to me in the heavens? I do not desire anything with you in the earth. My heart and being has totally expired to you. A yearning desire of my soul expiring to Hashem. So the Rebbe goes on and says, Afkan mudgoshim ha'ava l'kadosh baruch hu va'bitochon boy l'gabe kol ha'inyanim shebashamayim. Also over here, it's emphasized the love to Hashem and the trust and confidence that we have in Hashem over all matters that's in heavens, shemashmuse gama inyanim aruchnim, that's indicated also spiritual matters. In other words, our trust is in all heavenly matters. Our love is in all heavenly matters, that Hashem will give us all these things. V'sheba aretz ha'inyanim agashim, and the earth, meaning that we have the trust and faith and confidence in Hashem in all physical matters, that we have what we need. Now, one might think that this is something that one needs to have a lot of work to be able to attain this. So the Rebbe says we should know that Bitochon is not something that's created from work, but it's actually inherited. Just like a child that inherits something from his parent, doesn't have to work for it, doesn't have to earn it, just because they are a child, so too we have this as an inheritance. This trust in Hashem, this confidence in Hashem, is an inheritance of the forefathers by every single Yid. Kakosov, like it says, in you, our forefathers had trust, they trusted, and you saved them from whatever they were going through. Nidreshes rak havoas habitochen tarashti zelade poil. It's only necessary to bring this inherited trust that we have internally to actuality, to actually feel it and be aware of it. B'midah sheyakif is kol chaye yom v'yom v'yachta b'chol haprotim, in a measure that it should encompass our whole day-to-day life and should permeate us in all the details. Corresponding to the rule and the principle that our Chachamim say, that in the measure that a person measures out, so it's measured back out to him. Moving, it's understood. The more his trust and confidence is stronger and founded greater, and the Rebbe in the footnote says that in Shara Bitochon at the end he enumerates 10 different levels of Bitochon. So as much as I have Bitochon today, there's other levels and higher levels of Bitochon I can have. So the greater my Bitochon is, Kach misgashem bitchayni begoloi ubeyeser bisus. So corresponding to my level of Bitochon in Hashem, so too does Hashem fulfill and actualize what he had the trust and Bitochon in Hashem, that it should become revealed and clearly based. Through Hashem's brachas, in the physical and the spiritual, that Hashem actually gives us physical good and spiritual good, and then this itself is a materialization of our trust and our confidence that we had in Hashem. Now he brings a very beautiful thing from the Keser Shem Tov in the footnote. So let's go down to the bottom of the page. There's 4 paragraphs from every footnote is its own paragraph. The 4th paragraph, not the 4th line, the 4th paragraph, meaning the 4th footnote, begins from Bot Chuvat Faltemoy. So the Rebbe says as follows: Lahoyer mekeser Shem Tov, to note what it says, the Keser Shem Tov, skip the parentheses, it's only a Maramokim, it's only where in the Keser Shem Tov it says as follows: V'abiteach ba'Hashem chesed yisayvevenu. It says in the pasuk, the one who has trust and confidence in Hashem, kindness will surround him, will encompass him. So the Baal Shem Tov says on that pasuk, Shebachol makim sha'adam hu choyshev hu misdabek chulu. Wherever a person's thoughts are, whatever he thinks about and focuses his mind, so there he connects to that level. Ukishu bateach bechesed, when he has trust and faith in the kindness of Hashem, Sham yidbak nishmasei, over there his neshama cleaves and connects to Hashem's chesed. V'chesed yisayvivenu, so then, because I embedded my neshama in Hashem's chesed, so then Hashem's chesed now surrounds me. V'tamid yatmin es atzmai kuloi b'shem yizbarach, and the person should constantly embed himself within, in his entirely in Hashem Yisbarach, in Hashem's kindness, by having this type of awareness of Hashem's chesed and bitochon in Hashem. So this is an amazing technical explanation. The rest is a part of a parenthesis. It's missing the beginning of the parenthesis. In other words, the Rebbe is saying over here an amazing concept, bringing from the Baal Shem Tov, what's the methodology how Bitochon works. So the Baal Shem Tov says the methodology of Bitochon is very simple. We know a neshama of a yid based on their mindset. There is an expression that Chassidus always brings down: "B'mokim shemachshavte shel adam shamu nimtza." The place where a person's thought is, that's where he is to be found. If his thought is in Hashem's kindness, so then he is found and he connects his neshama with Hashem's kindness. And therefore he becomes surrounded by Hashem's kindness. That's why it says, until and Babatech Hashem Chesed Yisayuven. Okay, let's continue on to the last page. The bracha of the Rebbe. Yazra HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem should help. Shekol ha'amr le'il, everything that we spoke about in this letter. Bitzua Slichos Elikis, lastly, Dir B'Tachtoin, the fulfillment of the godly mission to make a home down here below for him. And Habitochen B'Kadosh Baruch Hu. And we spoke about having trust and faith in Hashem. And we spoke about Brachas HaKadosh Baruch Hu Begachs Beruchnius, that there should be the blessings of Hashem, both material blessings and spiritual blessings. So the Rebbe wishes everybody that Yavil de Gilu Etzel Kol Yehudi B'Midam Lea B'Yoser, it should come out in a state of revelation. It should be actually revealed by every Yid in the fullest measure. In other words, we should all fulfill the mission of making Hashem a home. We should all have Bitochon in Hashem, and we should all have the brachas of Hashem in the physical and the spiritual. B'davar zeh, that we will have this in the micro, in every individual. Gam Yochish will also speed up the Oirer and will awaken us mili ha-brachis ha-klal Yisrael, the fulfillment of the general brachas to Klal Yisrael, Begula amitis v'ashleimai de Mashiach tzidkenu, and the true and complete redemption through Mashiach. Bebirchas ksiv v'chsimatayva, with the bracha of being written and sealed for good, Lashana Tayva Masuka, to a good and sweet year. Begashmis u'beruchnis gam yachad, materially and spiritually together, the Rebbe's signature.